stalked and terrorized for 12 years. Now, CSI Miami and All My Children star Eva LaRue and her 20-year-old daughter Kaya speak out for the very first time ever in this exclusive interview about the, quote, campaign of torment unleashed upon them by their stalker, who disturbingly referred to himself as Freddy Krueger. Now, convicted and put behind bars just last week, Eva and Kaya tell me they finally feel at peace for the first time in years. Okay, this series of events, it spanned over 15 years of your life, yeah, right? How are you doing as you sit here today?
I mean, relieved that it's finally over. Relieved that it's finally behind us, and he was sentenced just last week.
She's beloved for her role as Maria Santos on All My Children and as Detective Natalia Boavista on the hit show CSI Miami. Eva played a DNA analyst, which became a cruel irony when she started receiving letters from a stalker during her second full season in 2007, and the FBI was unable to determine who was sending them. Most of the stalker's threats are far too vile to share on television, and they eventually began to mention Eva's young daughter Kaya, who was only 5 years old at the time, stating, "I would think you would want to stop me for your daughter's safety. You should be very scared of me." At one point, Eva and Kaya even moved out of the country, fearing for their lives. But soon after moving back, even with a hidden address, another letter arrived. "I am going to take my revenge upon you and your daughter. There will be no place on this earth that I can't find you." The stalker then located and started calling Kaya's school, leaving horrifying messages. But then a break, thanks to DNA submitted to a genealogy site by a family member, the FBI was able to connect and zero in on the stalker. The stalker pled guilty and was sentenced to 40 months in prison and 3 years probation. Tell me about the first time you were contacted by your stalker.
The letters started coming just totally out of the blue. And they would detail the most grotesque, deviant, nightmarish detail. He was going to disembowel and dismember us both slowly. He was going to kidnap my then 5-year-old and myself. I was a single mom at the time. And that he was gonna hold us hostage, keep us as sex slaves. He was obsessed with impregnating my baby. It was intimidation and fear and psychological and emotional terrorism on a whole different level.
What were your earliest memories?
Something had happened where our address was leaked, and we were actually in the middle of the night packing up all our things. And then I remember being so young, just being like really settling the effects of what it is to, you know, not only have a mom in the spotlight, but to also have someone emotionally terrorizing you and feeling that I couldn't even be safe in my own home, couldn't be safe around my family, which at a young age is your only core support. And to feel that I didn't even have that to really help me was, you know, kind of devastating.
So Kaya, fast forwarding a little bit, it's 2015 now. You're 13. The letter started being, in particular, addressed to you.
I have such severe anxiety, even now to this day, because for me it was just so paralyzing to go to school and to not know, you know, if I was going to get picked up or if I was going to come home one day and my mom was just going to be found dead on the floor. And my senior year, when I was called into my front office.
Your dad says he's gonna pick you up.
Yeah.
Stand out in front of the school.
Yeah, so then I was like, I texted my dad, I was like, yeah, what are you doing here? And he was like, no, I never called the school and I'm not here. And it just clicked. And I went, oh my God, it's my stalker.
But what they didn't know is at the exact same time, 2 former FBI agents were using new DNA technology that led them straight to Eva and Kaya's stalker, and they were on their way to arrest him.
They literally went out the next day. They've got to go and stake him out, wait for him to throw out something that has DNA on it, and it was an Arby's cup, and they got the DNA off the Arby's straw. It's funny, I had the visual in my head last week when we walked out of court. I felt like, I know it sounds silly, but in my head, I felt like we were both holding hands and kind of blasted off out of this dirty skin. You know what I mean? I felt like we just, like, shed it in that moment. I'm like so relieved that the whole thing's over. And then when you don't feel like you can protect your baby, like that's your only job as a parent, right? You know, and when you hear that your baby had that much fear and that there was no way that you could, you know, circumvent that or help her or make her feel more protected is really a crap feeling, you know, because it's your only job.
What does life look like for both of you now?
Freer.
Yeah.
I just feel that I've been able to like let go of certain things I feel like I can actually walk around my own school campus and feel safe. You know, that I don't have to look behind my shoulder 20 times, maybe only now 5. You know, and it feels good.
And Eva says she and Kaya are sharing their story now in the hopes that those in similar situations will get help. And even though they're both still dealing with the emotional trauma, they are moving on the best they can.